Preet, you are on mute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all the participants of this insightful webinar on the topic of Agile Audit, organized by the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Today, we are privileged to have an esteemed panel of speakers with us. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our distinguished chairman, C.A. Charanjot Singh Nanda, the Vice Chairman C.A. Dayanivas Sharma ji, and our esteemed speakers C.A. Manoj Agarwal and C.A. Amish Thakkar. Before we dive into the enriching sessions that lie ahead, it is my honor to introduce our esteemed Chairman C.A. Charanjot Singh Nanda ji. He is a Central Council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, contributing significantly to the growth and development of our profession. He currently serves as the Chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of ICI, Committee on Financial Markets and Investors Protection, Committee on Information Technology of SAFA or of South Asian Federation of Accountants, and also he is a Vice Chairman of Board of Internal Audit and Management Accounting at ICI. In the past, he has chaired numerous pivotal committees. Mr. Nanda has also represented ICI on the international level on topics such as IFRS, forensic accounting, and effective communication. I welcome Mr. Nanda. Over to you for the keynote session.
Thanks a lot, Preet. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with yet another exciting session on Agile Auditing. My reverences to C. Manoj Agarwal, the Reverend Speaker of the Day, and C. Amish Thakkar, who would take us through all the nuances of Agile Audit. When you speak about Agile Audit, what is Agile Audit? Agile Audit is used by internal audit teams to develop an audit plan that's able to respond to change. Respond to change is very important. You're all aware that internal audit essentially is a management function wherein you use all your capabilities to create value and worth. Ladies and gentlemen, when there are new risks that emerge or the change in business priorities, the objective of Agile Audit is to get to the field work as rapidly as possible. The first sprint in each audit is often a 2-week planning phase, and the outcome has to be really outbound, has to be really great, astounding, so that you are able to effectively not only service your clients or stakeholders, because an internal auditor normally reports to the board or the audit committee, as the case may, but to the entire regulators and government. The basic purpose of internal audit is to add value to the initiatives of the management. And Agile Audit puts you to a system wherein you are able to effectively add value. To summarize, Agile Audit is a mindset an internal audit function will adopt to focus on stakeholder needs, accelerate the audit cycle so that effective reporting can take place, drive timely insights, which is again very, very important, reduce wasted effort. The effort has to be focused and the results also have to be focused, and generate less documentation. So we have two of the speakers who will take you through the entire journey, but I would like to conclude by saying two things. Number one, the Digital Accounting Assurance Board is working at a larger perspective to create awareness amongst members. 1st July 2023 is a historic date because on this date, the Council of the Institute mandated the DAB to make forensic standards mandatory. Any forensic assignment after 1st July 2023 has to be in tandem with the forensic standards, which are 23 in number, issued by the Institute. And the matter of pride is that we are in the first in the world to issue these forensic standards. I can put you very candidly, after the issuance of forensic standards and World Congress, the entire perspective of the world at large has changed. And that can only be expressed by way of a couplet which says, "Dete na the jo salam, dete na the jo jawab, unke salam aane lage, waqt badla, to mere neem ke ped par aam aane lage." The profession now is at unprecedented heights. Please use the change mechanism, agile auditing, to add values. And I'm so happy that my friend Manoj Agarwal, who has spent his entire life in adding value. He is a man who's always clear about his objectives and more importantly, update about the latest trends in technology and internal audit, and he is very kindly consented to be the speaker of the day in spite of his busy schedule. So, ladies and gentlemen, I won't stand between you and Manojji, and I give the dais back to Preet. Preet, the dais is all yours now. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Nanda sir, for imparting the wisdom, and we will surely learn from your great experience. Now, I welcome CA Manoj Agarwal sir, our eminent speaker. CA Manoj Agarwal ji is a leading internal audit and risk management associate in one of the India's largest specialty footwear retailers. He has over 20 years of experience in delivering assurance and advisory services to the management in retail, facility management, BFSI, and manufacturing industries. He is currently a member of International Internal Audit Standard Board of the Institute of Internal Auditors USA, and he is a strategy advisor board member of IRM India affiliate. Without further ado, I would like sir to come and take over the dais.
Thank you,
I welcome
Nandaji.
Manoj sir.
Thank you, Nandaji. Thank you, Iprit Singh ji, and thank you, Dhyanand ji, and thank you, Digital Audit and Assurance Board of ICI. It's always a privilege and honor to speak on our alma mater's dais. So just give me a minute. Let me put this my presentation on the screen. Good evening, friends. So before I begin, if you have any questions, feel free to send the same, and I'm happy to take the session at the end of each slides or at the end of the session, depending upon the questions, depending upon the nature of the question. So feel free to ask any question you may have. So everything has already covered this, so I'm skipping this slide. So this is the most important slide for me. This is the disclaimer. All the contents of the presentation constitute the opinion of the speaker, that is me and me alone. They do not represent the views and opinions of speaker's employer, my supervisor, nor do they represent the views of the organization, businesses, or institution the speaker is or has been a part of. So I'm part of various institutions. So this opinion is my opinion. They do not represent the opinion of those institutions, including ICI. Some of the situations that I mentioned may not be true, and identities of any parties involved have been disguised. Images used may be subject to copyright. So with my personal risk management taken care, so let's proceed deep dive into the journey of agile auditing. Let me start with two great quotes. While we teach, we learn. So I'm supposed to teach, but I always take this opportunity to learn, because there are so many things I may not be knowing, so many questions, so many situations you may be facing which I'm not aware of. So it helps me to learn about those situations, those contexts. Now, the second quote is very interesting. We are internal auditors, or at least we are auditors. So this is very aptly for us. The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. Yeah. For example, when we see that things are hopeless and yet determined to make them otherwise. So I find this quote, this particular quote, aptly made for internal auditors. We internal auditors go in the organization, see things, review things. Sometimes we find that things are totally hopeless, but we internal auditors are determined to make the process improve, make the process good, make the situation change. And majority of 99% of the internal auditors that I've made till date, we all are chartered accountant. So this quote is equally applicable for chartered accountants. that we have the first great intelligence. Expectation setting. So, what do you want from this session? So, here I will take a pause for a few seconds. Feel free to put whatever your expectations in the chat box, and let's see whether I'm able to deliver on those expectations at the end of the sessions. So they can pass on, the organizer can pass on the expectations to me, and or you can validate, you can raise those expectations at the end of the session as the case may be. So feel free to put your expectations in the chat box. Our agenda. Our agenda would cover what is Agile, 12 principles of Agile, challenges in adopting Agile, and areas where Agile can be adopted, and Q&A. It is very important to understand what is Agile means. What are the principles of Agile? What is the origin of Agile? Because once we understand the origin of a concept, we are better able to adapt that concepts in our life, day-to-day life, professional life. So when you hear Agile, what does comes to your mind? Priorities, estimation, speed, agility, Agile manifesto, business value, team board. So there are so many things that comes to your mind. Scrum Master, sprint backlog, user stories, iterative process. Some of the things, depending upon your industry, depending upon your background, depending upon your experience. So whenever we say Agile, some things comes into your mind. So dictionary defines Agile as able to move quickly and easily. Mr. X and Mrs. X was as agile as a monkey. You know, what is the synonyms? Nimble, leap, spree, supple, limber, acrobatic, dexterous, deft, graceful. You know, anything which pertains to speed, agility, quick thinking, quick moving, anything which pertains to speed. And opposite of it is slow, dull, stiff. It also has able to think and understand quickly. So agility means something you are able to do quickly, and its opposite is something slow, dull. So this is very important because once we understand the concept, we are in a position to apply that in our work. And we chartered accountants are, you know, you can say that we are born agile. Our DNA contains agility. Our motto is Ya Ish Siptu Jagrati. The person who is awake in those that sleep. So our course makes our DNA agile. So we are born agile, we are trained agile, we pass agile. So this is something which is inbuilt. This is my personal opinion, but I believe CAs are, they by training they have been made agile. So manifesto for agile in software industry. So somewhere in some 80s, the firms, the software development firm, they were facing certain issues. They were facing complaints. So they thought over why it is happening. So once they thought over, they realized something that what they have realized is that there is a better way to develop software, and we can help them better. And through our work, we have come to value. Now, this is very important concepts. individual and interactions over processes and tools. Meaning, so though there is a processes, there are tools, they have their importance, but at the same time, you cannot blindly rely on them. You need to also consider the individuals and interactions, the dislacking of individuals. Working software, prototype of a software versus comprehensive documentation. Now you can create a world-class software and create a world-class comprehensive documentation, but if it is going to take 10 years, who is going to wait for that? And most importantly, how do you know that this is what the user want? This is what the user want today. So answer is give them some working software. You can develop the documentation. Now, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. They can negotiate so many things. Okay, we will do this, we won't do this. There are so many risks. We as part of industry, as part of consultant, we are advising that, okay, guys, you're facing this many risks and you should negotiate, put it into that contract. Now, this is about negotiating that contract to the teeth. Okay, this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 100, step N. Vis-a-vis customer collaboration, you are collaborating with the customer to develop the final product, responding to change over following a plan. So you started with a plan. Okay, say okay, we will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And the COVID hits, and you are still following that plan versus responding to change. Now, they cover this. It doesn't mean that the things on the right hand side, they don't have value. They do have a value, but those need to be corroborated, supported, with the left side value. So if you're following a process, but there is no interactions with individuals, you're not taking care of what the individual is capable to do, it is bound to get failure. So any of these things basically change management. In audit, what we do is change management. So while there is a value on the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. So it is not about that right doesn't have a value. They do have a value, but if you don't do the things on the left hand side, then you may not be generating value for your customer. So this is one of the the manifesto of agile software development. There are certain principles behind the agile. So principles behind agile manifesto. So it says our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. How you can adopt in your internal audit function. You can adopt highest priority is to satisfy the needs of management through early and continuous identification of risk and value added impactful reports. What does it mean? You don't have to do your risk assessment once in a year. If you find some risk during the year, you need to do that risk assessment and capture that and give it to the management. Let's take an example. In August, Government of India has implemented Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Now, this has repercussions to, I would say, almost every organization, whether it is B2B or whether it is B2C. B2B is business to business, B2C is business to customer consumer. It has a huge impact. Now, if you waiting for the March end, and they will say, okay, March end is coming, now let me do my risk assessment and tell management that 9 months ago, government has introduced an act which is going to have an impact on you. And after just 3 months back, they have introduced certain rules which are supposed to follow, but you are not following. You're non-compliant for last 3 months. Do you think management is going to like it? They are not going to like it. Second, welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile process harnesses change for the customer's competitive advantage. Now, this is something little difficult to digest. Allow scope to change, increase even at a later stage of assignment. We as a consultant, you will hate this. I can't increase or decrease. My scope. If I decrease scope, I lose my revenue. If I increase scope, I will not be able to deliver on time. But at the same time, while rejecting that, you need to also consider what is the changing requirement or changing the scope. If there is core to the assignment, then you can't reject it. Maybe you need to renegotiate it, but you can't reject it. So it is about balancing risk versus scoping. The focus is you need to deliver assurance as well as value. You can't say that, okay, guys, I've taken an assignment. I'm going to do these 5 activities and that's the end of my work. No, maybe doing a work, but it may not have any value. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter time scale. How internal audit can adopt this principle, provide assurance that controls are existing and effective quickly and frequently. Now, number of your clients would have listed companies, so internal financial control is applicable. They may have MNCs, the SOX, JSOX, so many SOX would be applicable. Now, they would be requiring continuous support in terms of testing of controls. If you take an assignment, so you would be doing planning, execution, and reporting. But if your reporting cycle is 1 month, and you will be going to report something after 30 days, then quite possible client will say, hey guys, you have less information. You are saying this is an issue, but this is not an issue. And this is the reason, this is the documentation. So instead of reporting at the end of the assignment, more frequent reporting can be done. In case something is not working, major items can quickly ascertain and inform. Now, if you are able to tell them that, guys, this is not working, they may be able to fix that thing. What is the purpose of internal audit and internal control? Internal control to preserve value. Purpose of internal audit is to add value. Now, if we are in a position to fix something at the beginning, why we want to wait for 30 days and inform them? We can inform them, at a much earlier stage. Fourth principle: business people and developer must work together daily throughout the project. So, for how you can adopt this for internal audit? You can work with stakeholders and management. Now, let's assume a scenario. You have been given an audit. You go there and you discuss with, let's say, head of the department. You ask for the data. You perform your work and report to head of the department. Do you think you are going to get value? Do you think you are going to solve your queries? Do you think that query would have right? Do you think you'll be able to discover the root cause of the issues? Most probably not. This will also ensure that nothing is missed out. So when you're discussing a day-to-day basis, you come to know that what is working, what is not working, what is the practice policies at that organization. If you're in a position to inform that this is not working, they are able to fix that. And you are also able to validate your observations frequently. And overall, when you are presenting that report to management, you know that whatever low priority item, they have fixed that up, and you are able to report that they have fixed that up. High priority item, they are already started working. Which gives the management a lot of satisfaction and assurance. The principle: build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment support they need, trust them to get the work done. Now, how we can adopt this? We need to have motivated individuals in a team. Not all your team members are equal. Some are highly motivated, some may not be motivated. If you find motivated individuals, team member, give them environment and support they need and trust them to get the work done. You can empower team to work independently. Don't do micromanagement. Provide source to enable team to work. Let me give an example how I learned my lessons so bitterly. So, in early part of my career in consulting, I used to call daily my team member and asking them what is the progress of the work. And I used to find that their work is suffering, always late, always late, always late. After some time, I realized that it is me who is the hurdle. If they have 8 working hours and if I'm taking that 1 working hour daily for review, and I'm telling them, please do this, do this, do this, then it is me who's consuming, almost 1/8 of their time. So, which it has forced me to develop certain tactics, certain templates, certain reporting structure, certain way of reporting analysis. So once I developed that, my other teams, it's not only my counterpart, my peers, they also started using the similar templates, and we had overall improvement in the efficiency and productivity of our team members. Most importantly, our works were, which were getting delayed very high, they were getting less delayed, and we were coming, towards on-time delivery. The sixth principle is the most effective and efficient method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. Now, whenever you are having we need to communicate, either you can write it down or you can communicate face-to-face. Now, you will say, if you're writing down, that has a value. I completely agree in agreement. But at the same time, if you only communicate over email and if you don't talk, you may not be knowing what is happening on the field. What are their challenges? What are their learnings, experiences? What are their thought process? What are their ideas which can improve the processes? So when you talk and then you put things, it improves, communication. Other person understand what you want, or what is your purpose behind any instructions. Working software is the primary measure of progress. So internal audit. So identification of risk to business objective in a timely manner, provide assurance whether controls are working in a timely manner, are the measure of working internal audit function. So, no surprise. You would have heard it so many times. No surprise. Management hates surprises. So, instead of reporting only, you can also provide solutions. If you report only, don't provide solution, so you may not be understanding the business operations. So, once you go there, identify an issue, you need to discuss, communicate with the stakeholders, try to find permanent solutions. Of course, permanent solution doesn't mean implement some tools, but implementing some modules, taking two years to implement something. So you can suggest ways so that the risk can get in control as early as possible. If system is going to take time, then something need to be done on manual, because it is a risk which need to get controlled. Principle 8, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. So, my dear friend, can you work 12 hours a day for 3 years continuously? Answer is no. Can you work 12 hours for a day? Of course, answer is yes. Can you work for a week? Again, answer would be yes, no. Can you work for a month? Maybe, once, twice, in your life, But can you work continuously? Answer is no. So all practices needs to be sustainable. Audit management, operations team need to be seeing so that everyone works towards the achievement of objective. We should have permanent solutions rather than mandate fix. Controls need to be sustainable. Should not be person dependent. Should not be only one person is doing it without monitoring. So whatever we are doing, we need to be sustainable. If it is not sustainable, next time you go for an audit, you will find the same issues repeating again and again. Ninth principle, continuous attention to technical excellence in good design enhances agility. We all hearing about internal audit 2, internal audit 3, internal audit 4, industry 1, 2, 3, 4, steam-based industry, semiconductor-based industry, now AI-based industry, quantum industry. What is this? This is all upgradation of the skill sets. So continuous upgradation of skill sets required to support business objective. 4 years back, few organizations were digital or using automated processes. Post-COVID, number of organizations started using that. If you are not equipped to audit such processes, then you may be getting obsolete. So skilling, reskilling, upskilling to ensure that team has the right skill set so that it can fulfill its roles. So sometimes it will also require you to unlearn things so that you can learn something new. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. Simple, straight to the point, addressing the risk is essential. Short, simple reports stating the issues in a simple language is essential. If you give me an audit report, I can bet you I can reduce, not the statutory audit one, internal audit one, I can bet I can reduce its size by 20%. So we need to keep the things simple so that people understand, act on it, and move on. 11th principle, best architectures requirement design emerge from self-organizing team. And how internal audit can adopt it, best teams are able to support each other and leverage best talent of work. So you will find that the best team, if you have multiple teams, the best team is someone where people are not asking something. They know it is their job and they are doing it. So in case somebody is not there and somebody is not coming to you, sir, we have this work, we don't know who's going to do, but they are deciding themselves, then that is your best team. If your junior most member has a skill set which you need, then you should empower him to do that work. It should not be coming and asking, sir, I have the skill set, can I do it? You need to empower that. The team leader need to be in a position to say, guys, please do this. At regular intervals, the team reflect on how to become more effective. Then teams adjust his behavior accordingly. At regular intervals, the team need to reflect. So do an introspection to be more effective, learn, unlearn, and relearn. If you are continuously doing some work without taking a rest, you may not be performing at your best. There would be some task which you are doing, which you may come to realize that you are not best. There are some tasks which you may realize that you are best. So maybe it is high time to do what is the best and maybe delegate the task which you know you are not best to someone. And how you will be doing that? You need to think After the end of a project, after some time, regularly, we need to sit back, understand, reflect what went well in a project, what didn't well in a project. Either learnings and move on. This will make you more effective. Another example could be, a yearly review of your clients. Not all clients are profit making. Not all clients are developing your skill sets. There will be some pain client where you're spending large amount of time and may not be generating enough value, may not be learning, may not be able to leverage their name. So maybe it is time to let them go. How you will be able to do that? You need to reflect. Now, what agile is not? Agile does not mean no documentation. Remember, we were saying individual interactions over processes and tools, but it does not mean no documentation. Agility is a mental concept. As agile means you need to still do the documentation, but there is a ways to do it. There is ways to capture it. There is a way to do the work. Now, when project IT teams tells them that the evidence they ask for is unavailable, so we don't like it. But agility should result into strong documentation, which continuously being updated and refined. So when you're doing something, you don't have to do that fancy thing, header, footer, number, indexing, etc. But documentation has to be there, and you need to keep updated. Agility does not mean no planning. So planning is there. Agile does require planning. In fact, they may be requiring much more planning. But what is important that they are not rigid. They are flexible. So they are open. Something is not working, but something else is working. So they can do that. It's about constant reprioritization. You need to deliver a working software tomorrow. So you need to do 3 tasks. So you need to decide which 3 out of these 3 tasks, which task is important and focus on that. So what is this? Which task is important? It's a planning. It doesn't mean okay, I like this, I will do this. No. Agility does not mean no planning. It means more planning. Agility does not mean less discipline. When you hear, especially software, okay, we need to do this, it doesn't look like it's a discipline, but it's a quite strong discipline. Because without discipline, it will go for a failure. So when you are changing something, discipline doesn't mean rigidity. It is about flexibility. Flexibility doesn't mean that no discipline. Flexibility requires more discipline. Now, the most important, agile does not mean scrum. So whenever you hear agile, you hear scrum techniques. So agile does not mean scrum. There are many ways to apply agile. We always going to encounter scrum methodology because this is the most popular one. But agility can be achieved using other methodology too also. So don't get fixated. So let me repeat. Agile does not mean scrum. Yes, Scrum is one of the most popular methodology, but there are other methodology which Agile can adopt. Now, let me ask a certain question. Based on whatever you have heard so far. So, an internal audit function used to provide weekly status report. Management wants more frequent reporting. They decided to adopt agile approach. What will be the right reporting frequency? Bi-weekly, daily, hourly? So feel free to put some answers. So it would be great exercise so that you will learn whether it is the right answer or wrong answer. So I will just wait for a few seconds. You can put 1, 2, 3. This is for you, not for me. This is for you because I'm going to give the answer. So the answer is 2 daily. No, we are doing an internal audit. It is not something very life critical thing. Of course, this is my view daily. Now, somewhere management may want the internal audits to report on hourly basis, but I really don't know how it is going to function. Sometimes they may want them to report twice in a week, which is also perfectly okay. But I believe daily would be a right frequency. This is based on my experience. Your experience can be different. Which of the following is not associated with agile auditing? So it is written agile auditing, but just you can ignore auditing, not associated with agile. 1, operational flexibility. 2, bottoms up innovation. 3, slow approach. Again, I will wait for few seconds. So the answer is slow approach. Slow approach is not associated with agile auditing. Operational flexibility, so which I have stressed so many times. Bottoms up innovation. You are listening to everyone. You're talking to a team. If they have something new, something which can be implemented, something their suggestions are welcome. So this is what the agile is. Agile auditing focus on faster responses to customer request. True or false? I think this should be a simple answer. Answer is true. This is true. Why do we want to apply? I believe it will reduce audit timelines by increasing efficiency. It will cut down on legacy administrative tasks and streamline audit documentation. See, what do I mean by streamline audit documentation? Audit documentation generally come at a very late stage of the audit closures. But if you're finalizing something, maybe you can put it at its rightful place and store whatever is required for that particular item for the documentation. So if your documentation, once you're closing an area, you're documenting that and storing this, maybe it will help, reduce or increase efficiency. It will increase engagement with auditors. I've always found it very encouraging, useful to talk to auditors on ongoing basis. I had true self-interest into that. My first self-interest is sometimes we audit and we are progressing, but we don't know we are on the right track or not. When you discuss with your auditors, you will come to know whether you are on the right track or not. Of course, some auditors would be smart, but if you have done your work properly, you would be able to assess whether they are over smart or they are genuine. They are guiding you genuinely. Respond faster to changes in risk control environment. For example, introduction of Digital Personal Data Protection Act. It has suddenly increased the risk. If you assess your client, you will realize that not only your client. So when you are doing an audit, you would be taking some data, and that data would be of some customer. Now, is this data which you are taking of the customer, of your customer, do you really need to preserve that, files for 8 years as part of your audit documentation? there would be certain scenarios where it is not required to be done. But your client is responsible for various obligations under the Act, and one of the databases lying with you. Just think the kind of risk your client is carrying, and you don't want to advise that client after 9 months. Ability to audit agile activity within the organization, agile projects, agile software development are now standard in many places. If we understand agile, we are in a position to audit those agile projects. Post COVID, the adoption of technology, adoption of tools, adoption of various automation has increased twofold, threefold in the organization. And if you're not auditing those projects, then maybe you will become audited. When I say you're not auditing, somebody need to audit that project. So if you're not auditing, somebody else will be auditing those projects. Challenges in adopting agile. So here are two definitions. Definitions as given by ICI. Internal audit provides independent assurance on the effectiveness of internal controls, risk management processes to enhance governance and achieve organizational objective. IEA definition has a systematic, disciplined approach to evaluate processes. So, if you remember what was there in traditional processes, tools, comprehensive documentation, contract negotiation, following a plan. This is what we have generally done so far in our life. We are auditing processes, we are following processes, we do comprehensive documentation, we follow a plan, we negotiate contract. Where agility means we need to give more weightage to individual interactions over processes and tools. Working software, working audit. Okay, major is got covered, so audit is completed. That doesn't happen in real life. Customer collaboration, customer is very full of us. Responding to change. So should we allow scope creep to come into our scopes? So those are challenges. What is the solution? Solution is, I would always say, collaboration and have the right customers, the right auditors. Now, next to slide contains some framework. For example, this is the waterfall framework. Now, see, typically our process is risk planning, walkthrough, fieldwork, testing, review, discussion, reporting. So, if you can summarize into plan, do, check, act. But what is agile means? So, let's take. See, you will do risk assessment, then you will do planning. When you are doing a walkthrough, in walkthrough you realize that there are two risks which I have not covered. Should you continue till reporting or should you include those two risks in your risk assessment? So agile means you need to include those two risks in your risk assessment. Add it. Again, do the planning, walk through, something is missed down. Okay, nothing is missed down, fieldwork testing. No, when doing a fieldwork testing, you realize there is something which I again missed. So again, plan to check that. Again, do that thing. Now, let's take a scenario where you decide, hey, I don't want to do this. And at the end, you say, why it is not there? So after fieldwork, your manager is doing a review. And manager says, hey guys, you have not done these two tasks. You will say, but you have not told me at the beginning of the planning stage. He will say, so what? I come to know about this. So please include this. So this cycle, it is one cycle versus multiple cycles. Iterations. Now, this is the Scrum. And so it has, so there is a product owner, there is a product backlog. So don't go by the word backlog. A backlog means what are the activities to be carried out. There is a development team. So they do a sprint planning. This is okay, we need to do it. So they will break a task into small tasks. They will do it. They will create activities. They will run that sprint 1 to 4 weeks, and they will meet daily to understand, discuss what is going well, what is not going well. Scrum Master is your project manager. There would be sprint review. There is a retro. There is an increment. This increment is whether the work is happening or not. How you can adopt this set technology in your day-to-day auditor's life. See, just example, serial, area, coverage. So you can say area, sub area, coverage, start date, end date. For example, one of my favorite statement to my team is, I tell them, do a 30 minutes research, review data, come back with your findings in 1 hour. So I'm saying do 30 minutes research, come back in 1 hour. Why I'm saying this? Research can take 1 week, but I want something quickly. So if I don't give them this kind of timeline, then my work is not getting finished. So I'm giving this kind of timeline. You do 30 minutes research, whatever come across, come and discuss. So this, I would say, this is an example of a Scrum sprint. Kanban project management. I'm sure you many of those you would be having this. A to-do list. Sometimes you will be updating to do, yet to start, to do, doing, to do, done, crossed, done. This is your Kanban project management. See, there is also another screen. So, this is fun. Something is happening. So they fast track the fact, they review it. So and so on, so on. Now, you see, you will find this on your fridge. Mom ka list, dad ka list, my list, John ka list. What is this? This is to-do list. This is that agile thing. Many of you would be already doing this. This can take the shape of your exercise calendar. You take this. So this is generally I follow. I create a list of requirements, put them into an Excel sheet, and then update. Received, not received, partially received, not applicable. What is this? Every day I can ask my team member to send this summary along with the list to the process owner. Okay, hey guys, there were 19 areas, out of which 12 is not applicable to you, 5 has been received, 2 has not been received. It makes life so easy. I can escalate that. This is an example of report writing process. Typically, there is a work papers, detailed observation worksheet, prioritize, concentrated observation sheet, main report, and executive summary. This is a typical cycle. So, detailed observation worksheet. So, you are creating an observation worksheet. You can share that thing at the end of your 3 weeks work. You can share the same every week, or you can share the same daily basis with your client or auditee. I believe in sharing the observations with my client on daily basis for a very simple reason. So if that person, I'm working in industry now, in consulting earlier, if my client is in a position to close my observation, he or she can close his observation by giving me explanation, and I can cross question and ask him for certain additional document. They can close my observation by accepting my observation. Now I need to only create a bigger annexure for my issue, or sometimes they are saying my observation is wrong. So I can challenge them why my observation is wrong, and they can give me some appropriate evidences, and which I can use it. If actually closed, then I don't have to work more. No, this is how I can save time, save rework. Many small report versus one big report. Now, you can do an internal audit of procure to pay cycle or you can do audit of multiple small audits. Review of your vendor master. That itself can be a task. There are so many things, which can go wrong in your vendor master. Your vendor management process, your quotation process, your purchase order issue process, your GRN process, your bill booking process, your payment process, your ledger review process. You can do so multiple small audit. Now, if nothing else, you can do as a phases. But doing a IR to the procure to pay would be a 1 month long process. Vis-a-vis, these are small process, and those people would be able to fix the issues identified as early as possible. So that will definitely add value, lots of value. Just give me a second. Yeah. Areas where agile can be adopted. I believe, accelerate, shorter the audit cycle. You can do snap audits. You define what are the top 3 risks you want to verify for a particular activity. You do that audit in a day or two, give a snap reports to your management. It would be difficult for consultant, but I'm sure they can also do interim reporting, which can be treated as a snap audits. Time bound report. A audit has to be time bound audits. Audit has to be completed within a defined timeline. It forces you to prioritize. What is the maximum risk? What is the control you want to test? If you already tested a control, you want to retest that control. 80-20 Pareto rule, auditing what matters, auditing high risk, which anyway you have to do it. If you don't do it, if you treat everything as same, all audits in a 3-year cycle, every audit once, it doesn't work. Providing timely insight. If you provide timely insight, you come across something, you can share the same with your management, your client, timely basis. You don't have to wait for the report to get completed, audit to get completed, assignment to get completed. Reduce the waste of resources, providing the right resources for the right work, and also allowing them the freedom to work. You can increase your audit value. You can increase involvement of auditee. When you discuss something with the auditee, you are making auditee as the co-owner of your audit report. Of course, they are the owner of the issues. They are the owner of the action plan. But you are creating that buy-in of your audit team and continuous coordination of the product, which is the report. So this to and fro, which will generate a much better product as compared to at the end of the cycle. Concepts for applying agile for audit execution. Time limited work. For example, I have explained how I ask my team to do certain things. You have a audit. You can break up into various smaller chunk, define timeline for that, and your team can then plot whether they have done as per the plan or not. See, budget versus actual, this is very common. So budgeted time versus actual time, whatever the planned time versus actual time. Delivering a sure conclusion after each sprint, either to audit management or to auditee. So if you've broken up your work into smaller activities, you can do that. Clarity on priorities planning by involving senior audit management in process as risk owner. So who owns the risk? Is the risk owner who owns the risk, and basically senior audit manager, senior management. So if you discuss with them, what is the pin area for them. Making of audits at audit level as well as audit test level. If you have 50 audit tests, you can listen all 50 tests and do this thing. You will know where you are. This will also allow you to do this interim reporting. If you 50 tests you are doing, you can report that, as and when one test is completing. Using an interactive physical or digital board to track fieldwork tests as a team. Now, Either you can have one Excel sheet which is with you, or you can share with everyone. If your team is looking at the this kind of task on daily basis as a team, they know and they would be maybe cooperating with each other to finish the work. Setting limits on work in progress at any given time to avoid work overload. Sometimes you say, "Hey, give them enough work, twice a work." But why? If you know what is the right time, you can give the right work, right time, and ask them to deliver on time. You don't have to overload them. As and when you come across new risks, you can always add more testing to your whatever testing you are doing. More testing to be done, or I would say different ways to test. Testing for me, testing doesn't mean what is written as a control. You need to apply your brain. Your your job is not to follow exactly what is written, because if you do that today, a majority of the task can be automated. Your role is to find what are the new ways in which the risk can hit for the same area. Central meetings to get quick updates. You can do a daily huddle. Very simple. Daily huddle. Every day in the morning, 5 minutes. Okay, what are the priorities? Who is going to do what, and where do they get stuck? Where the client is not giving data, where somebody is not there, where system is not behaving, where somebody has not delivered on a prior engagement. So do a quick 5 minutes meeting and find out whatever is the issues and accordingly act. So with this, now I'm more or less at the end of my session. So I know there are ample time, and one of the reason I kept this ample time is that so to take question and answers. So I can take this question. So what did I discuss that you want to know more about it, and what is that you want me to cover which I have not covered? So I'm open to question answer. So should I stop sharing? Let me stop share. So do, so do I have questions?
Yes, sir, you do have questions. Once again.
हाँ जी.
There are many questions, and I would take the common question so as to make it a practice session. So one of the question is that how useful are Microsoft Office suite tools such as Excel, Word in audit sample selection?
So, see, I think the answer is in the question itself. They are tools. A tool is as good as the
Hello. Manoj sir, I think there's an internet connection issue. I think there's some issue with Mr. Manoj Agarwal's presentation. We'll wait him for joining back. Sir has joined back. Sir has joined.
So my apologies. So somehow the internet and my organization has went off. So I am taking this from phone, but as my presentation is more or less over, so we can do. So yeah. So there are tools which will allow you to determine what should be the right sample size. There are tools, if you are using any audit management tool, typically they have a provision through which, so once you determine the sample size, they will also help to select those samples. But it's all these are random sample. So whether you use Excel or whether you use any tool, as long as those are random, they are not specific samples, those tools are good. But at the same time, today the world has changed. The world has moved from sample to sample. So today, if you use technology, if your data is into it, some database application is in computerized environment, management expectation is you do 100% testing. See, remember, the keyword is testing, not audit, testing. So you need to test 100% of the data on certain attributes and identify those exceptions and then decide out of this exception which one to deep dive and do the more rigorous testing.
Yes, sir. Very rightly concluded. So there's also an interesting question that a participant has asked, that it may happen that due to an agile audit, the audit plan which was already selected may be different from what is selected now for planning the agile audit. So how does the management respond to is? Do they respond favorably, or and how do they prepare for the audit basically?
I think it's a very relevant and very interesting question, and this is the core of the agile auditing, whether to adopt or not. So typical scenarios, you will do a risk assessment, you will define internal audit plan for the year. Okay. Now the interesting thing. So once you present a plan for the year, you present to the board or audit committee approves your plan, and then you execute that plan. But who's telling you that you cannot go back to your board, your audit committee in the next quarter? You can always go back to your board and the audit committee in the next quarter saying that we started with this numbers of audit, these are the areas, but looking at the past quarter, we realized that these two risks are very important for the organization, and we are proposing that these two particular areas need to be audited. And you put forward that plan to your board and audit committee, and they will, if they agree with your view, they will accept it. If they don't agree with you, they will reject it. Now, are you going to do something which is not planned against the management wishes? Answer is no. Now, a number of organization with I would say with high maturity, what they do, they so when the audit plan get presented, the audit internal audit department's budget get also presented in terms of man hours, in terms of headcount. So there they propose, don't make yourself don't plan for 100% of the your time. You plan for only 75% of the time for this plan. To reserve this 20% of your time for unexpected thing. So this unexpected thing this is what will allow you to do your, the to address the new risk, and this is where your agile, the plan which you have created. So let's call it your agile, the changes in your plan which is coming as out of the result of changes in the risk, and you want to cover as part of the agile manifesto, you can cover them. So there are both the ways is applicable. So having a plan doesn't mean you have to follow for the entire year. Of course, you need to follow the due process, which is go to the board, take an approval. If they give approval, great. If they don't give approval, still great.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful. Now, there is one more question that could you elaborate more on what is Scrum and how can we adapt the same in the audits? Because this is a question which is asked by a majority of the participants.
Okay, just give me a second.
Sure, sir.
And just give me a second because
No
it is important. Just give me a second because I want to show the slide of Scrum because that would be very helpful. The network has come. Just give me a second.
Sure, sir.
Recording in progress.
So I'm disconnecting from here and joining on my laptop. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
And the slide is visible on the screen?
The slide is not visible right now.
Sorry, my apologies.
No issues. Yes, sir. Now it is started. Yes, now it is visible.
Okay. So on your screen, the Scrum framework is visible, right? Yeah. So before I go into this, so let me repeat. So Agile does not mean only Scrum. Agile means agility. So this Scrum network, you will see here, there is a product, so-called product backlog. This backlog is nothing but the activity. It can be your internal audit plan. It can be your an individual area with lots of activity. Then this is you as a team manager. This is you as a your audit team. This is you as a team manager. So you do a planning. Okay, what work we are going to do when and how in what order. So you decide and you do that. So this graph is from the IT industry. So they have put sprint of 1 to 4 weeks. But typically today internal audit line expect you to finish start to end including delivery of report within 30 days. So you are going to do this 1 to 3 weeks. And every so you are not not 1 to 3 weeks is actually a let's say 1 week sprint. Okay, you will do it and review it. You can also do a daily. So it all depends upon your comfort level, your detail of planning, your activities, how you are able to break that up. So the idea is you break your work in a small manageable chunk, and for after every manageable chunk, you are reviewing this, and you are reviewing daily basis. See hourly okay, if you are doing an audit committee presentation, maybe you are going to review every 2 hours. Just to give you an idea. But if you're doing an audit, you're not going to do every 2 hours. You're going to do, say, max once in a day. So you keep reviewing this, you finish, review this, go ahead, do this. Now, in this review, something comes back, you again go back, do this. So it's like a cycle which is going on. So this is in brief. There are enough material available on the internet. If you search it, you will find enough material on Scrum framework. But in nutshell, break up a project can be one audit, it can be an audit plan. Break up a project into smaller manageable chunk and define a timeline. Finish that small manageable chunk, review it, repeat the process after each manageable chunk. In case of any error issues, go back and restart the process. But you don't have, if you have to restart the process, even for those manageable chunk we got completed due to the later evidences, you need to redo that. Otherwise, you can skip that and continue till the end of the work. I hope that answers, but see, I am an internal auditor. I am not a software developer. So I adopted this as how I deemed fit for my organization and for me.
No, sir, it perfectly answers. I think most of the queries have been answered. Just one more query. That's it. There's a continuous communication is one of the key features of Agile Audit. And Agile Audit encourages the constant communication between auditors, management, and stakeholders. However, sir, in real life, we have seen sometimes there is some kind of, what should I say, some kind of dispute or difference in wavelength between auditors and management regarding certain things when working on an internal audit level. So, could you elaborate on that, on how to overcome that?
I think you hit the nail. So, the most important question is why there is a differences. Maybe the thought process in the management. See, there are three parties: the management, the auditee, and the auditor. So maybe what management has there in mind is differing from what the auditor has in their mind. Maybe it also differs from what the auditee has in their mind. Many times the management, not many times, management wants two things. One is the assurance, whether the controls are working or not. Second thing is on the value addition. It can be cost saving, efficiency, anything more. Now the control assurance is concerned, typically those are captured into various processes, process activities, process documentation. So audit is quite aware of what is there in terms of processes and what is there in terms of controls. So that control testing generally is an easier thing. Of course, it is not easier at all. It's not always easier, but typically it is an easier thing. Now, value addition. Now, this is something where there is a lot of challenges. Now, me as a in-house people, if I have, let me take an example. You take any area. It can be logistics. It can be procurement. It can be HR. If management expect you to have the knowledge, experience, ability to think at the experience of a head of that function. It can be logistic function. It can be HR function. It can be procurement function. Not only that, they also expect you to have knowledge of industry best practices, and then they expect you to go and discuss the same with the auditee and convince the auditee that he's wrong. So he's an idiot. With 20 years of experience, we don't know how to manage that function. You see, this is where the major challenges is there. Now, why this challenges is there? I always believe that if management knows that this is working, why they are not talking to that person and get this thing done? So they are using auditor's shoulder. So what is the way out? I will say that the only way out is to do your work very objectively, define the boundaries of your work, and the two things you need to always give: control assurance, which is given, it is a must. If you don't do this, all your value addition goes for a toss. Control assurance is a must. But if you give only control assurance, then again you are not doing your job. You are not going to be retained as a consultant. You are not going to give a good increment as an employee. So control assurance is given, is a must. If it is not there, you are not doing your duty. But if you are not adding value, this value addition is very important. If you're not adding any value, then maybe you're at a risk. And in my opinion, what is the best way of adding value is you need to define your value matrix or value framework. Cost optimization or cost reduction, efficient operations, time saving, revenue maximization, compliances. Are we missing on any compliances, penalties, documentations? Once you cover this thing, you need to still find ways that have I improved the operations, not controls, operations, even if 1% better. If the answer is yes, fantastic. And have I told management something which they are not aware of it? It can be very small thing, but something which they are not aware of it and is important. If you have done that, you would be valued by the management. And if you are in a position to reduce the work of the auditee, you will be again valued.
So, sir, that does with the questions. And I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to you for sharing these invaluable insights with us. Your expertise has shed some light on the transformative power of the Agile audit, and we appreciate your contribution to this session. Sir has emphasized that Agile audit is a revolutionizing auditing. Is revolutionizing auditing practices. It is offering flexibility and real-time insights. It is iterative and technology driven, and its outcome in today's dynamic environment are far than we are realizing today. With this, I would like to invite our speaker for the session, Mr. Amish Thakkar. He's our eminent speaker for the session two. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would like to welcome Mr. Amish Thakkar, our eminent speaker for the session two. He has 22 plus years of experience in international experience in rendering expert professional services in the field of forensic audit, investigation, system audit, data analytics. Also, he has more than a decade experience as a faculty and moderator for the ISA course and the FAFD course organized by the institute. He has taken sessions across India, Dubai, and Bahrain. Over to you, sir. I think over to you, Amisha. I think sir has some issues joining. He'll be joining. Till the time sir joins, I think we can discuss about some key principles of agile audit. What Manoj sir has taught us is that agile audit is flexible and very adaptable, unlike traditional audits which follow a rigid plan. Agile audit promotes flexibility. It acknowledges that business changes rapidly and audit processes should be aligned to keep the dynamism of the business environment in place. I think
Amish, Amish, you are not audible. No voice is coming. And there is no mic also, which is visible on your.
yes, Misha. Sir has joined. I would like to welcome C. Amish Thakkar, sir. In the meanwhile, sir is joining. I think we can discuss some of the benefits of agile auditing. Agile auditing promotes faster responses. It allows the organization to respond swiftly to the emerging risk or changes. It enhances the collaboration. It fosters better collaboration between auditors, management, and the stakeholders, as better explained by Manoj sir in our discussion during the question answers. It improves the efficiency by focusing on automation. Automation today is a tool which we all can concur with. It leads us by example. Today, AI has taken over the world by storm, and we as auditors can also use this tool to add a feather in our hat. It has a greater relevance because of automation and technology that is being used for such processes. It ensures that audit findings.
Am I audible? Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible now. You are very audible.
Oh, finally. And my sincere apologies.
No issues, sir. No issues. I would like to formally welcome sir to the stage.
Thank you very much, Yurpreet. And
Thank
nice
you.
to see you again.
Thank you, sir.
You're looking as handsome as I saw you earlier. And thank you very much. Without wasting much time, I would apologize for the video because seems to be some issue with my laptop. I had to change it at the last moment. But I'm sure without even the camera on, you will still have a wonderful experience of going through my session.
Yes.
So I'll just resume my session. I'll share my screen. Please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Your screen share has started.
Great. So here we are, friends. First of all, a very warm good evening to each and every one of you who is online, listening to me at 7:30 in the evening. That itself indicates that you have a strong inclination in understanding what is happening in the space of Agile Audit and how data analytics in Agile Audit can help you master this practice. Okay, so the task that is entrusted to me after Manoj sir has taken you through the concepts of Agile Audit and what changes this particular audit has brought into the practice, I will take you through the next steps in terms of explaining the requirement of data analytics and how this particular skill set will enable you or equip you to become a master in Agile Audit. So with this expectation in mind, we will kickstart our session. Meanwhile, feel free, it's a webinar form. So meanwhile, if you have any queries, do not wait till the session is ending. Keep putting your queries and simultaneously I'll be more than happy to answer them. And we are there to kind of, interact with you over the chat box. So Yuprit and me will ensure that your queries will be taken up as soon as you put them in the chat box. All right. I would like to start my session by showing you this image. Now, for a moment, since it's a webinar, I am not going to have any interaction with you, but for a moment, look at this image and think that you are an agile auditor or you are in the space of an audit. What are the challenges that you might encounter in today's environment? Considering that technology has made lots and lots of changes into our practice already, that means our practice has greatly influenced by these technological changes. In such a scenario, this is how I see that auditor would be looking like. He is tired, he has no time for grooming, his eyes are puzzled, his clothes are torn, not ironed properly. Look at his hairs. He looks stressed, he looks puzzled. And the unique thing that you would notice here is that he has a Pinocchio nose. Okay. It indicates the fact that today the need of an hour is auditor has to poke his nose into everything that comes during the course of audit. Not only the physical documents, but bulk of it is the reports which are in the form of digital or electronic reports. most of the organization, including SMEs and SMS, mid-size organizations, they use SAPs and ERPs today. Nowadays, even SAP has, come up with toned down version. It is far more reasonable in cost, and most of the organizations are aiming to migrate to SAPs or some form of ERPs. When we talk about bank audits, we consider Finacle, FlexCube, Banks24. These are the ERPs where bank maintains their data. The point I'm trying to drive is that whether it's a statutory audit, internal audit, concurrent audit, or any form of tax audit, the due date which is about to be tomorrow, your role is to evaluate, analyze, dissect data which is majorly in the form of electronic reports or in the digital form. Of course, you will collect some physical documents and trails, but the proportion of that in the context of entire audit is like 5 to 10%. The bulk of the data that you are going to analyze is in the form of electronic reports. Now, given this fact, given this change in the landscape of an audit, if you are not good enough in analyzing the data, in sensing the data, in finding the aberrations, outliers, or trends or patterns from the data, at some point in time, you will feel handicapped. Your position would be like this gentleman, which is in front of you. You will be puzzled. You will have no time for, taking care of your own grooming. You will be very busy. You will run late on all the projects that you are handling just because we are deficient in handling the data. And when I'm talking about data, data is not available in a standard format. Data formats itself are very complex. Imagine if I give you 50 lakh transactions in PDF or in an ASCII format or even in Excel, where the size limit of a particular Excel sheet is only 10 lakh 26,000 records. So handling such a volume itself is a problem, right? So what is it that we need to do? Long back, when I was doing my articleship, my senior fellows and my mentor, my chartered accountant under whom I was undergoing a training, he was telling me that Amish, as an auditor, you need to be a good listener. Well, that holds true today as well. The more we listen, the better informed we become as an auditor. But that is not enough today. Just by being a good listener, you may be a good auditor, but how about you having so much of data but unable to interpret what this data is talking to you, what this data is trying to tell you? So you need to develop a skill set of analyzing the data. And this is a tool driven practice. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter your IQ is next to Einstein, we as a humans have a limitation or sort of constraints in handling the large volume of data. With our naked eyes, we can't find aberrations or outliers or exceptions or frauds or anomalies just by looking at the data. So the point is, with this image, I'm trying to tell you how important is the role of sensing the data, analyzing the data. And one more thing that has evolved is just by being a good listener, we are not going to survive in this domain, especially when we are talking about agile audit, where the dynamics are going to change every now and then. Your focus will change on different aspects of audit. It is not going to be a simple stereotype process audits or internal audits. Even the processes are embedded into technology, and technology changes very rapidly. So your approach in agile audit also will undergo a change. In such a situation, another thing that you need to learn is to make friendship with data. So I'll tell you during the session how you can make friendship with data. I'll drive my session in three directions. First, I'll tell you that when an industry has made friendship with data, how they have benefited. Then, as a chartered accountant, if you develop friendship with data, how you will benefit, especially in the context of agile audit. And finally, I'll give you the roadmap that if you need to make friendship with data and become an expert in the field of data analytics, what is the roadmap ahead for you? Okay, so this is how my session is going to be driven. Before I start, I would like to show you one clip which I have recorded, which is going to demonstrate how industry is leveraging on the data analytics technique. All of you, what you are seeing while I'm speaking, you can have a look at this clip. This is the clip of Flipkart Big Billion Day Sale. Okay. Now, Big Billion Day Sale lasts for almost a week, and Flipkart publishes this data within 10 minutes from the end of Big Billion Day Sale. The clip that you are seeing is an outcome of 10 minutes after the end of sale. And you see what they are showing. Here, it says that mere paas data hai. And what this data represents is the success of the Big Billion Day Sale. It says that more than 27 times the footfall in a cricket stadium, equivalent number of visits of the customer on mobile app and on the website during this 1 week period. So imagine the grand success of this particular 7-day event. Credit Extended can fund 2,365 missions to the space. That's the amount of shopping done by the customers. Now look at this. Also, did you know that phones sold when lined up can reach from Delhi to Mumbai? Laptops sold can store more than 5 times the movies made till date from the inception. Total shoes shipped is equal to the weight of 67 blue whales. This is unbelievable. Only tea purchase can serve England 3 times. Now, this is the power of data analytics, my friend. Within 10 minutes, if I can publish this data with such a storyline, can easily tell me what is the success of this particular sale. EVs sold is equal to planting 1.5 lakh trees. Cellback used phones sourced will save 20k tons of carbon too. So imagine, this is how the data speaks today. Okay. So gone are those days, my friend, where our reports used to be very bulky, very paragraph driven, lot of English jargons. Gone are those days. Today's reports are all dashboards, dynamic charts, and on that only numbers with some sort of color images becomes my audit report. So that's the power of data analytics coupled with storytelling. Look at this. The courier master, the courier partner, which is what they call as wish masters, they covered the distance 60 times to moon and back just to deliver the products ordered during Big Billion Day sale. Yeah. So we are in the first leg of our session where I'm trying to demonstrate to you how industry is leveraging this data analytics and inferring or deriving lot of insights from their own business. See, friends, data has a lot to speak. Data tells you exactly where your business stands. What are the pitfalls? What are the good things? What are the bad things that have happened to your business? The problem is people don't have time to analyze it. People don't have time to make friendship with data. This is where our job as a chartered accountant comes into play. You might have heard this sentence so many times, and you might have experienced it also. And if you want to prove whether this statement is valid or not, just do a Google search and find top 10 richest people in the world. In the list of top 10, 3 people own the company who only handles data. These are the giants like e-commerce companies, giants like Google, Amazon, they have tons of data on which they leverage. Facebook, for example, they don't have any product, okay, but they are one of the highest valued company in the world. Similarly, Swiggy, what product Swiggy has? Nothing. Yeah, they are just a delivery company. But the amount of data that they collect on their website, they can mine the data. They would know more than you about yourself in terms of what are your food preferences, from where you order, which hotel you like to order the most, what are your cuisines that you order. Generally, you order on weekdays or weekends, and they mine your data and they create your parallel profile in the world of internet. Now imagine if you happen to be a consultant to Swiggy and you can mine your data and you can identify the anomalies or aberrations or help them to grow business or tell them where they go wrong. That's what they need. Yeah, and that's what we do in audits. Yeah, what do? Is we mine the big data which companies are collecting, we convert them into smart data by using the tools, and now this is where the cream of the job of a chartered accountant is. We help them to make decisions. Friends, 9 out of 10 board meetings or audit committee meetings which we attend today, the board comes up with data. Earlier, board used to have gut feelings or their industry experience which would drive their business decisions. Today, friends, the business decisions are driven purely by numbers, and we are the ones who mine the big data, provide them the smart data, which they convert into decision making tool. So this line says that move to digital is no longer a trend, but it's a compulsion. The very fact that you all are attending my session at 7:30 in the evening after a hectic day, that too where a tax audit is due tomorrow, indicates that you all appreciate the need for upgrading or fine tuning or sharpening your skills in this domain. Since this is a data analytics related session, everything that I am saying, I will back up with data. Okay. I am referring to for some of the statistics published by one of the credible institute which is relied upon globally, which is called World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum publishes the reports every alternate year, and the good thing is it is made available to public free of cost. So whatever data I'm showing you in this presentation is available to you in the form of report which you can refer, especially the youngsters who are in the age bracket of 30 to 35 up to 35, who are looking for cross selling or who are looking to kind of uh, looking out for a profile in an industry which has got to do with technology, must refer this report. It will give you plenty of insights. And for those seasonal professionals who have got 25, 30 years of experience, who are in the bracket of 35 plus or 40 plus, this reports will help you to understand where the next earning opportunity lies. There's a lot happening. Blockchain is about to come, which will be a game changer. Cloud computing has already made a lot of inroads. AI is shaping up. In the budget of 2023, our finance minister has made bold announcements on AI. They have, kept heavy budgets. They are going to set up 3 institutes only focusing on AI. So a lot is about to take place if Modi government rolls over in 2024 election. Technology will be the front runner. And I don't want you all to miss the bus. So keep an eye on these reports. See, in 2018, pre-COVID, what was the projection by World Economic Forum 2020 to 2018 survey? Friends, it says that technology by proportion of companies likely to adopt them by 2022. So there in 2018, there was no kind of a sign of COVID. Nobody thought that such a disruption is about to happen. At that point in time, user and entity big data analytics, this is a kind of role. 85% of the companies in 2018 predicted by World Economic Forum that 85% of the companies will adopt this technology. Okay. Now, further, they also came up in the same report examples of stable, new, and redundant roles. So, bad news first. Look at the roles which are going to become obsolete. And look at this: accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll, accountants and auditors, financial analysts like your fund managers or research analysts, which is used to be one of the cream jobs. AI is taking over. Today there are algorithmic based trading. Fund managers' jobs has been replaced by the algorithms. They predict the movements of the securities market much more faster and in an accurate manner than a fund manager. So look at this three or four roles which relates to our profession, which they predicted in 2018 to be redundant. Look at the new roles, and topping the list is data analysts and scientists, something to do with big data and digital transformation specialist. This is the role maximum chartered accountants involvement is there in industry. If a company wants to migrate from a standalone accounting platform to an ERP or an SAP, they need chartered accountants, especially people who are into audits, who are into systems audit, who are into internal audits, who are adopting the methodologies of agile audit, because this transition is a very fast paced transition and need for an agile audit is here. Lot of UAT testing is required, bulk of control testing is required. So there you can utilize the agile audit technologies or the tools. Yeah. 2020, when the COVID came in, look at this. Again, top 20 job roles in increasing and decreasing demand. Again, the situation remained the same. Here also, the three roles continued to go into increasing in demand. And friends, COVID-19 has accelerated the growth of adoption of technology. Everybody was forced to work from home. Yeah, adopting the new methods and ways of connecting to the servers, exchanging data, conducting meetings, and that has given a very heavy push, and a lot of measures were taken by corporates because it was cost effective. Yeah. Now in 2023, recent report, which is post COVID effect, technology adoption 2023-2027 projection, look at it. Again, people have realized the benefit of technology. They have now shifted their focus in adopting big data analytics as one of the key drivers. And then if 80% of the companies are going to migrate to digital platforms, big data analytics, you can look at Byju's and other tech edutech companies, or we call it as ad tech companies. They have flourished like mushrooms in this period. Of course, now there is a downturn which we see in Byju's because of the different reasons, but because of the technology and the combination of technology with education, many companies have made trillions of dollars of money during this few years. From nowhere, they have become giants. Yeah, they could afford to have Shah Rukh Khan sort of a person as their brand ambassador. So you can imagine. The point I'm trying to drive, my friends, is 80% of the companies are there who are looking for people like you who can help them do the audits using big data analytics. Yeah, not going by traditional sample based audit. Friends, today sample based audit has become obsolete. Help of With the help of these tools and techniques, one can do 100% audits, and that is the key driver for agile audit. Not only the speed with which we do the audit, but the coverage can also be 100%. Largest job decline in millions. Again, see the same prediction. So what they predicted in 2018 is valid, and you might have seen the heat. Those chartered accountants who are in this practice, their contribution from this domain is hardly 5% of their practice because it's of no use. Today in SAP, accounting is a byproduct. So to summarize my 20 minutes of discussion, friends, as a chartered accountant, we are subject matter specialists. We are upskilling our knowledge on audit. Agile audit is a new baby in the kitty of audit. If you couple this with data analytics, you can be an unbeatable professional, much sought after professional in the industry. Trust me, people are looking for experts in this domain. There's a real scarcity of knowledgeable talent pool in the industry. Having said so, as I said, if you need to master this art, you need to learn to make friendship with data. We all know that books are our good friends. We all know that to become a good auditor, we need to be a good listener. This is the new mantra. Because data is an oil, data is a gold, we need to make friendship with them. If they can have value, making friendship with them, you can also have your own value. So how do I make friendship with data? So there is one thing that you can do is master data analytics tools. At the end of my session, when we'll come to the roadmap, I'll tell you how you can begin your journey of learning this data analytics tool, which tool you should be learning. There are thousands of tools available. Learning the ones which industry is using the most will benefit you a lot. Yeah. So, couple of more examples before I go ahead. I'll quickly browse through this for the benefit of time. Now, I know this slide is too much cluttered, but see these names. These are all popular names. From this side to this side, what I've added is the year of establishment. If you see Google, Amazon, Netflix, they are the first movers. Amazon was the oldest company, started as selling books, e-books in 1994. Then came Netflix and Google. And then came, after a decade or so, this new generation companies which were new babies. These are old babies, old companies with older technologies. But now these all companies are successful. Why all these companies are successful despite so much of gap in their establishment years? Because these companies have understood digital transformation and they have pursued the change. Look at Nokia, look at Kodak. The companies which were number one in selling mobile phones and cameras, even Xerox, they have not adopted to technologies and their names are history now. Nobody even remembers Nokia. Yeah, they are still struggling. Yeah. Some of the good companies, selling or manufacturing best of the products are now history. Yeah. In order to stay competitive, they transform themselves. Now look at this, Uber and Airbnb. Uber is the biggest taxi company not having a single car in their ownership. If you look at their balance sheet, none of the car is in their asset side. If you look at Airbnb, the biggest hotel aggregator, they do not own any single building, but they're the largest hotel booking company. Why they are so big? Because they collect your data, they collect your preferences, and showcase your requirements to the owners of the taxis or the hotel. That's why Swiggy and Paytm and all these companies have a lot of high valuation, despite they don't own the product. What they have is the data. Yeah, I'll skip this, but just to show you that 1/3 of Amazon global sale comes from recommendation engine, which is nothing but converting big data to smart data and doing an agile interpretation. I'm using the word agile because here it requires some sort of immediate turnaround so that the customer's preferences are captured and immediately suggested to them. 1/3 of Amazon sale is a big number. 1/3 of Amazon sale could be a kind of an economy of a small scale countries. That's the size of Amazon sale globally. Yeah. So I will skip this just to demonstrate that how Amazon recommends customers. So you might have experienced that when you buy something on Flipkart or Amazon, they give you that people have bought these products along with the product that you're buying. And 1/3 of the customer, they go by their suggestion. Yeah. How it happens, maybe at some different forum, when we have more time, we can go through it. In real life, there are two types of data that you might have to analyze. One is a structured data and one is unstructured data. Structured data will come from SAPs and ERPs or your accounting software, inventory management software, which is more like a structure in the form of reports and all. So your softwares like Excel, Oracle, RDBMS, or MS Access, or Power BI, Power Query can handle straight away. Unstructured data is something which is in the form of PDFs, audios, videos, your customer reviews on social platforms like Insta, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah. They needs to be converted into structured data for you to be able to analyze the data. Now, I'll demonstrate to you the power of data analytics by showing this video. Friends, imagine that there's a big market outside, okay? But just because there is no availability of data, we are losing out on a big market. So this video has a background to it, which says that there are many customers who do not have a banking history, who do not have an account in the bank, but they are trustable, meaning if they need money, if they need loan, and if we pay them the loan, there is a high probability that they will repay the loan, which means the NPA ratio is very low. But because they are not trusted by banks, because they have no account in the bank, because they have no CIBIL score, banks are not paying them the loans. They are losing out on this customer. And it's a big market. Banks only will pay those who have income tax returns or who have some financial history or some paper trail which is on the public domain, and basically a CIBIL score. Now, this lady whose video I am going to show you, she has connected to those customers who do not have any financial history. Those who are small vendors like fruit vendors or grocery shop owners or very small vegetable vendors or small scale industry operators with no banking history, but they are trustworthy. You know what? She designed an app using mobile phone. She developed a parallel CIBIL score and she gave loans. And you know what? Her NPA rate is as low as any sophisticated foreign bank, say HSBC or a Standard Chartered who has rigorous credit evaluation norms. Her NPA ratio is even lower than this bank. So have a look at this video and see the power of data analytics.
How much do you need to know about a person before you'd feel comfortable making a loan? Suppose you wanted to lend $1,000 to the person sitting 2 rows behind you. What would you need to know about that person before you'd feel comfortable? My mom came to the US from India in her late 30s. She's a doctor in Brooklyn, and she often lets friends and neighbors come to see her for health services, whether they can pay right away or not. I remember running into her patients with her at the grocery store or on the sidewalk, and sometimes they would come and pay her right on the spot for previous appointments. She would thank them and then ask them about their families and their health. She gave them credit because she trusted them. Most of us are like my mom. We would give credit to someone that we know or that we live next to. But most of us are probably not going to lend to a stranger unless we know a little something about them. Banks, credit card companies, and other financial institutions don't know us on a personal level, but they do have a way of trusting us, and that's through our credit scores. Our credit scores have been created through an aggregation and analysis of our public consumer credit data. And because of them, we have pretty much easy access to all of the goods and services that we need, from getting electricity to buying a home or taking a risk and starting a business. But there are 2.5 billion people around the world that don't have a credit score. That's a third of the world's population. They don't have a score because there are no formal public records on them. no bank accounts, no credit histories, and no social security numbers. And because they don't have a score, they don't have access to the credit or financial products that can improve their lives. They are not trusted. So we wanted to find a way to build trust and to open up financial access for these 2.5 billion. So we created a mobile application that builds credit scores for them using mobile data. There are currently over 1 billion smartphones in emerging markets, and people are using them the same way that we do. They're texting their friends, they're looking up directions, they're browsing the internet, and they're even making financial transactions. Over time, this data is getting captured on our phones, and it provides a really rich picture of a person's life. Our customers give us access to this data, and we capture it through our mobile application. It helps us understand the creditworthiness of people like Jennifer, a small business owner in Nairobi, Kenya. Jennifer is 65 years old and for decades has been running a food stall in the Central Business District. She has 3 sons who she put through vocational school, and she's also the leader of her local chama or savings group. Jennifer's food stall does well. She makes just enough every day to cover her expenses, but she's not financially secure. Any emergency could force her into debt. And she has no discretionary income to improve her family's way of living, for emergencies, or for investing into growing her business. If Jennifer wants credit, her options are limited. She could get a microloan, but she'd have to form a group that could help vouch for her credibility. And even then, the loan sizes would be way too small to really have an impact on her business, averaging around $150. Loan sharks are always an option, but with interest rates that are well above 300%, they're financially risky. And because Jennifer doesn't have collateral or a credit history, she can't walk into a bank and ask for a business loan. But one day, Jennifer's son convinced her to download our application and apply for a loan. Jennifer answered a few questions on her phone, and she gave us access to a few key data points on her device. And here's what we saw. So bad news first. Jennifer had a low savings balance and no previous loan history. These are factors that would have thrown up a red flag to a traditional bank, but there were other points in her history that showed us a much richer picture of her potential. So for one, we saw that she made regular phone calls to her family in Uganda. Well, it turns out that the data shows a 4% increase in repayment among people who consistently communicate with a few close contacts. We could also see that though she traveled around a lot throughout the day, she actually had pretty regular travel patterns, and she was either at home or at her food stall. And the data shows a 6% increase in repayment among customers who are consistent with where they spend most of their time. We could also see that she communicated a lot with many different people throughout the day, and that she had a strong support network. Our data shows that people who communicate with more than 58 different contacts tend to be more likely to be good borrowers. In Jennifer's case, she communicated with 89 different individuals, which showed a 9% increase in her repayment. These are just some of the thousands of different data points that we look at to understand a person's creditworthiness. And after analyzing all of these different data points, we took the first risk and gave Jennifer a loan. This is data that would not be found on a paper trail or in any formal financial record, but it proves trust. By looking beyond income, we can see people in emerging markets that may seem risky and unpredictable on the surface are actually willing and have the capacity to repay. Our credit scores have helped us deliver over 200,000 loans in Kenya in just the past year, and our repayment rates are above 90%, which, by the way, is in line with traditional bank repayment rates. With something as simple as a credit score, We're giving people the power to build their own futures. Our customers have used their loans for family.
All right. So I thought that this much video is enough for us to drive the point home. So here, I'm sure many who are looking at this may find this as an opportunity. See, friends, today, clients' own data has so much of value. If you dissect the data during the course of an audit, see, client may hire you for, say, an audit, which is maybe a process audit or a manufacturing factory, some critical process audits or systems reviews or control testing. But friends, with so much of data available nowadays, you can add value in your business. You can not only deliver what client expects from you, but you can deliver much more than that. You can say, hey, look, you have a power of data. Your data is saying so much. It's just that you have not made friendship with your data. But while you appointed us to do an audit, we made friendship with the data and we got to know so much which you don't know. And here is what we found. Give them the trailer, friends. If you give them the trailer, they will hire you to produce the entire movie. Okay. Trailer is what? It's a teaser. It will induce the viewers to go to the theater and see the movie. Use this art of analysis of data when you are doing an agile audit or any form of audit to create that sense of interest or some sort of inclination within the client to appoint you again, to do more insights on the data and give them more which they don't know about their own business. And we as a chartered accountant, I keep telling everybody whom I meet that we chartered accountants are the best professional friends. We have best of the analytical abilities. We have commercial understanding of the business. If you take any MBA from any premier institute, they would not understand the business the way chartered accountant understands the business. Why? Because we know the regulatory framework, we know the processes, we know the risks, we do risk management. On the top of it, we do audits. So nobody after the management itself understands the business the way we do. So we are the preferred partners for the management to make friendship with their business data and guide them. Okay, this is the point I was trying to prove. So now, friends, this video would have given you an insight that if this lady, by developing a small API, she has not invested much. It was an API which would sit on your phone, will collect the data, and using some algorithms or the calculations would generate a parallel to CIBIL score and will help that lady to decide whether this gentleman or a lady whose phone was tested are eligible for loan or not. And you might have heard this that the repayment rate was as high as 90%. That too in a market like Kenya. Yeah, so imagine data analytics, you can guide your clients to venture into new areas, territories from analyzing their own data. So I'll take a small pause here just to see that we have completed the first part of my session, which is how industry is leveraging on this data analytics. So if we have any queries or any chat inputs, then we can discuss before I go to the next leg of my presentation, which is what is in store for chartered accountants, how you can be in this domain when you're doing an agile audit.
Sir, I think the way you have explained and that too with the presentations, nobody till now has a doubt in the same. And
Okay.
we are learning it with so much instances and examples like Flipkart. So I think you should carry on.
Sure, Yuvpreet. By the way, how many are attending at the moment? How many participants are there?
So more than 500 were live last I
Wow.
checked.
Okay, that's very encouraging.
Yes, sir.
Great. So I'll continue the excitement and we are now getting into the second leg of our presentation, which is as a chartered accountant, if you need to be in that particular spot where you can leverage this technology and benefit your clients, what is it that you should be doing? So for that, friends, you need to understand this cycle. This is a universal cycle, irrespective of what sort of audit you are into, irrespective of what is the nature of the client's business, irrespective of the industry in which your client is operating. These steps are going to remain standard across the globe. So, of my 2 decades of experience, this is a summary that I could share in one slide. And trust me, friends, whether you are into industry or you are into a consulting role, your job at every stage is very, very, handy or going to add a lot of value to the client. And you can become an expert in any of these stages. Okay. The start point is collection. So if you are in an industry, okay, if you are working in an organization, then your job is to guide your company, or as a consultant, you can guide your company, your client per se, as to, since they have invested into some software, accounting, inventory, payroll, customer relationship, HR, etc., etc., what information and in which format it should be collected. See, if client is not collecting the data, then the next of the steps are impossible. We need ingredients to prepare a recipe. So what ingredients are required, you can give the consultancy to your client here. Tell them that these are the minimum data points that you would be needing, so that in subsequent period of time we can conduct audits, be it any form of audit. Yeah. So this is a start point. Then comes cleaning of data. Lot of time clients have different applications, solutions. Some of them are on C, some of them are on Java, some of them are on Oracle. So the backend of this application is different, which means that for you to be able to analyze the data, you need to convert them into some standard format. Sometimes the data also comes with some garbage, some redundancy. All of that you have to analyze, all of these aspects are considered in the cleaning phase, which means you have to remove unwanted data, you have to convert the data into a standard format. Here where the need of the tool comes into place. A simple example around this is, if you have a text file, you are converting it into an Excel file, which we call it as a text to column. Yeah, that itself is called cleansing. Yeah, some headers, page total, subtotal may not be of use while analyzing the data. So removing those garbages is called cleaning. Okay. Then comes integration. Again, this is a job of a tool where after cleaning the data, you are compiling the data, you are integrating the data, you are consolidating the data, you are compressing the data. Say, for example, I have monthly sales file, and from that I want to make a quarterly sales files, or I want to make half yearly sales files, so that I can do trending or patterning or ratio analytics. For that, I need softwares which will consolidate the data. Or I have a yearly file which I want to split it into monthly, bi-monthly, weekly, or quarterly. So that's sort of a work that comes here. So these 2 steps are prerequisites for you to start your analysis. Now, when it comes to analysis, this is the core of the entire step. If you are an expert in this, you will be much sought after professional in the industry. This is where you need to sharpen your skill. There are different types of analysis that we can perform, that I'll explain in my next slides. But from here, you have started interacting with the data, you have started making friendship with the data, and when you make data as your friend will start sharing the secrets, sharing the wisdom with you. See, why do we make friends? We make friends because friends are knowledgeable, they have some experience, they are, they come with different perspective. So when you have when you have friends from different areas, say I have a friend who is not only chartered accountant, but I have friends who are doctors, engineers, or somebody in sports, then I get different perspectives. So we make friends who are from different domains. We make friends who are elder to us, who are younger to us, which means we not only make friendship with the like-minded people, like-minded professionals, but from other spheres of life. Same way, when you make friendship with data, you get a lot of different perspective. They'll tell you something more when you engage with them in this form of analytics. Okay. Now you have gathered a lot of insights from the data. Your friendship with the data is successful. Data has given you plenty of insights during your audits. Now, how would you present this to management? So you saw this Flipkart clip. Imagine if Flipkart would have given you only numbers that we have sold 576 crore worth of shoes. We have sold 250 crore worth of laptops. We have sold 550 crores worth of, say, washing machines. How would you kind of interpret these numbers? These are all black and white things, no? But when you look at that clip where there's an image of Amitabh Bachchan or some Bollywood actor or actress to whom you can connect, yeah, along with some comparison that I have sold laptops which are equivalent to, say, say it can store 5 times the movies made from the inception, or I have sold mobile phones. If you line up, it will be from Mumbai to Delhi. So you can kind of connect with the story. So once you analyze, then instead of putting English or abstract numbers, you can use visualization tools. Yeah, there are visualization tools like ClickSense, Tableau. We'll discuss them like Power BI, where you can narrate this story and tell your management, make your numbers little colorful so that management understands better and they may make informed decision. This is the step where our role is limited. This is the step where management has to make decisions based on whatever analysis you have done. As I told you, 9 out of 10 board meetings, your analysis will be taken up by the management for making business decisions. Why I have named this step as alerting? Because our decisions will guide management that, okay, in a particular product segment, your sale is deteriorating, your profit margin is squeezing. So these are some alerts. You have to do some course correction. You have to take some actions to improve your margins, to improve your sales, something like that. So therefore, I have not given the heading as a decision making, but I have given the heading as alerting. Okay, this is the learning that I have had from 20 years of my experience. So I've tried to summarize it in one cycle. And as I said, this is universal. Okay. Again, this is something universal. This is called big data analytics pipeline. Whether you're doing whatever sort of audit, be it an agile audit or any process audit or anything, you have to go through this process. So the collection phase is here. You are collecting the structured data, unstructured data, or log data. All is getting stored either in your in-house servers or on the cloud server. Then using data analytics tools. These are the tools which are high-end tools which Flipkarts and Amazons and most of the large conglomerates are using for analysis of the data. Then running the queries on the data using those tools like Excel and CAT tools and Power Query and all, or even the simple SQL on the Oracle. You can extract the data and throw this data into visualization tools, which can generate an interactive dynamic dashboards and give management a real-time insight on their business. So this is again a very standard and universal approach. There might be slight change, but not in terms of the sequence, in terms of the usage of the tools, in terms of storage of the data, in terms of usage of the visualization tools. So tools might change, but the flow of the arrows will remain the same. So now, friends, This is the charm. This is the heart of my presentation as to what exactly is data analytics and how I can leverage it during audit. See, audit is all about understanding something and then reporting what is right or what is wrong, unless it's a statutory audit where you have to follow the compliances and report whether it is followed or not. Yeah, like stat audits, for example, whether accounting standards are complied with or not, whether income tax rules or GST rules are complied or not. It's a black and white audit. Something is given by the statute, you verify whether it has been followed, like expenses are within the taxable limits or whatever, and you finish your audit. When it comes to analyzing the process, analyzing the technology, analyzing the control, that is where the bulk of the analytics will come in handy. So, the types of audit that one can perform goes into this sequence only. There is no other sequence. You have to go, you can't just start directly with predictive. You have to start with descriptive, then go to this, then go to this. It works like this. So let us understand what is descriptive analytics. So I will draw an parallel example so that you understand these concepts better. Say a patient goes to a doctor. Patient is suffering, say, from some issues like some pain in the stomach, he has got some headache, and he has got some mild fever. And occasionally he finds a lack of breathness. So he finds difficulty in breathing. So these are some symptoms or the issues which he is having. So he goes to the doctor and doctor asks him what happened. So he narrates that, doctor, I am having these problems. Same way, friends, a client will come to you and will say that, hey, look, my business is suffering from some problems. So you will ask, what are the problems? So you say, okay, my data is not available on due dates. We find difficulty in consolidating the data, submitting the returns on time. There's always a delay and we end up paying the penalties or fines. There's no proper reconciliation happening. Yeah, so there's some issue in our finance process or consolidation process or MIS process. Then there are certain business issues, like I am having a very poor sales in East market. People are not liking my product in East market. There's a continuous labor attrition in the West market, or people in Delhi. There's a stiff competition. There's a lot of margin squeezing that is happening. So the kind of margin that I'm earning in West market, I'm not able to earn the same margin in North market. So client will come up with some existing problems, like the patient has gone to a doctor with an existing problem. What is your job? So what doctor will say, okay, I understood that you are having this 4 problem. Now, doctor will open up the patient enrollment form because he is visiting for the first time. And he will tell the patient to fill up few things. So he will ask about the history of the patient. Okay, tell me what is your age? What is it that you do? How has been your work-life balance? What is your stress level? In what sort of profile you are into? Are you having a smoking, drinking habits? Are you a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian? Something like that, which means he will try to gather more insights about the customer so that he understands why he is having these 4-5 issues which he is citing now. Same way, my friends, you will collect last 4 to 5 years of data about your client. You will understand more about your client. It's like pre-engagement or pre-audit commencement meeting, where you are knowing more about the customer. You will meet with the CEO, CFO, CTO, COO, CHRO, or HODs, and you will gather more insights about the customer. So this is called as descriptive analytics. This is always a backward looking. That is, you are collecting data of past, analyzing it to understand that why your customer has margin issues in the North market, labor issues in the West market, the competition or the dislike of the product in the East market, something like that. Now, while you are doing descriptive analytics, when you make friendship with data, data will also give you more indicators, which even your client is not aware of. Which means now after understanding the history of the patient, doctor will tell the patient, hey, look, you are saying that you have a headache, you have a stomach pain, you are having problems in breathing, but by looking at your history, you might have heavy cholesterol levels, your obesity is at alarming stage, you might have a thyroid or a diabetics issues, which we don't know, but this is what my analysis of your report, my understanding of your past history indicates. Similarly, you will go back to your client and say, hey, look, you have cited me 4 problems, but your data suggests that there's a lot of leakage in your manufacturing plant, which is at Orissa. There is a lot of seepage, there is a lot of loss of byproducts, or there's a lot of scrap getting generated in one of the machine. Yeah, your stock turnover ratio is deteriorating. Yeah, you're in one of your warehouse, the stock is more than the number of days it should have been held, which even client was not aware of. But when you did the analysis, when you made friendship with the data, you got better visibility than your client has about their own business. So this is called, my friends, descriptive analytics. What happened in the business? This is something which has already happened. Okay. So here we are only identifying what wrong has happened with the business or what wrong has already happened with the patient. Now, the next logical step is why this all things have happened, which means root cause analysis, which means it's called diagnostic analytics. So now doctor requests patient saying that, hey, look, I get these 4 problems that you're having, but I am suspecting more. So doctor will take out a piece of paper and will say, please carry this blood test, sugar test, urine test, and blah, 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 and come back after the test result comes. So doctor is suggesting few tests here. Similarly, friends, what is our job here is we will test certain controls, we will test certain data, we will test certain key processes. Here, we will diagnose why what has happened, why the margin in West market is squeezing, why people in why margin in North market is squeezing, why people are living in West market, why there is a stiff competition and we are unable to sell in East market, why there's a lot of seepage here in this plant, why the byproducts are, the ratio of byproduct is very high, what is the problem in the manufacturing plant. So you will do some testing. This is called compliance testing in our phase. Yeah. So you will try to find out root cause analysis. Now a patient goes back to the doctor after the diagnostic reports, which means the patient has undergone the tests, the reports are ready. Similarly, you have undergone a control testing and your reports are ready. Now you again meet with your client, patient is meeting with the doctor. Now comes the main part of the analytics, which is where you have to use sophisticated tools like Power BI, Power Query, not Power BI, Power Query or CAT tools. Yeah. Or high-end Apache Hadoop sort of tools. Now you have to do prediction. This is a forward-looking analytics. So looking at the reports of the patient, doctor will say, hey, look, your reports are very serious. Okay. Your reports indicates that you are diabetics level 2 patient. Your cholesterol levels are about to burst. You are at above the borderline level. Okay. Your obesity is very, very alarming. So all these problems that you have cited were the outcome of this disease. Okay. So this is what the prediction is all about from the reports. So the doctor will say, okay, looking at your current health condition, I expect that you will have maximum 7 to 8 years of good health life, but after that you will remain for the rest of your life very ill. You will have a substandard healthy life. Your diabetics will keep on increasing, your cholesterol, your obesity, all of that will go up and you will have a very bad life. Okay, this is what doctor is predicting. Same way, my friends, once you identify the root cause, you will go back to the client, will have a very serious meeting, and will tell your client that, hey, look, if the labor issue continues in your west for another 6 months, your production will hamper, your market size will reduce, and in 3 to 5 years time, if it continues like this, your Bombay market you have to quit. Then the north margin is squeezing. Why? So you have identified that because of the logistic issues, because of the transportation issues, or because of the weak production at the north plants, you are unable to cope up with the cost. So if it continues like this, then in 1 year your margin will become negative. In 2 years, your this region will become loss making. So these are the predictions that you are making to your client, and all of this is backed up by numbers because these are red alarms. These are very very severe consequences that you are citing to your client. Now your client will ask you, okay, you told me what has caused the problem in my business. You are telling me that if things are continue to happen like the way it has happened in the past, what will happen to me in future? Now you please tell me, what do I do to come out of these problems? Similarly, patient will also get afraid, and patient will say, okay doctor, based on my report you're predicting that these are the things that are going to happen to me. Now please tell me, what is it that I am supposed to do so that I live a good life? I don't want to die in next 7 to 10 years. I don't want to live a substandard life. So doctor will take a piece of paper and will write prescription. Doctor will start prescription by suggesting some medications, some lifestyle changes, some changes in the food habits, may suggest some yoga, some jog or whatever, and will tell that start all of this immediately so that over the period of next 6 to 8 months to 1 year, your condition will start improving. Yeah. Same way, my friends, chartered accountants are much sought after professional where management will come to them and say, okay, this is my business, but you have analyzed my last 4 5 years of data. You have identified what has gone wrong. You have also predicted that if I continue to be like this, I'll be losing my going concern assumption. I'll be running short of my reserves. I'll be incurring losses, and I might have to shut my business in next 7 years. But I don't want this to happen. So what am I supposed to do? So again, you churn your data, make friendship with data, and come up with the solution. So whatever root cause that you identified, tell them that by making a good presentation, using visualization tools, make a story around it, and say what course correction they have to follow. This is the action oriented analytics. Yeah, client has to actually work on your guidance to resolve the problems. Now, if I continue with my example, the patient has got the prescription from the doctor, went to home and did nothing. So the wife of the patient asked him, what happened? So he says, no, doctor is bullshit. Doctor doesn't understand. He wants to make money. So he was threatening me that I'll have a very bad life. And he gave me so many medicines. And he told me, come after 15 days. And every 15 days you have to see me. So doctor is just a bullshit guy. He just wants to make a money out of me and he does no action. So you all know, friends, what will happen to him. Similarly, many of your clients may not upfront realize that why they need to take these actions. They may think that you are exaggerating, you want to make money out of them, so your consultation is wrong, blah, blah, blah. Now, here comes the real job of a chartered accountant. See, doctors don't do this. Doctor is not going to call the patient after 10 days. Are you taking medicines? Are you doing yoga? Have you made lifestyle changes? It doesn't bother them because there are so many patients which they are addressing to. So if one patient doesn't listens to them, they don't even bother. They are interested in their own money. But our job is different here. You have to handhold. You have to tell your client, hey, look, please do this. So after 8 to 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, depending upon the action that they have to take, you have to do a follow up. You have to set a meeting, tell them that, okay, we had a discussion a month back that these are the things which we have to do. Have you done it? What is the outcome? And we all know that we are not gods. Everything what we suggest is not going to resolve the problem. Okay. So even when a doctor suggests a medicine, it's it's not that it is going to cure the disease. A patient might have a side effects. He may have other complications with the medication. So he may consult a doctor. And the doctor might change the course of treatment. Similarly, friends, when we give them the directions, we give them the action plan, not necessarily that all the actions will take care of the problem. It may it may elevate or exaggerate the problem, or it may not resolve the way we thought or anticipated. So, a regular course correction, regular meeting is what is needed. So, even in case of audit, what do we do? After we submit the report, we take management action, we take the target deadlines, and all of this is part of now new age agile audits. Yeah. So, analyzing the data, having an impact on what these actions have resulted or not resulted or yielded anticipated results is all part of the game now. You can't just leave the client by submitting the report. You have to handhold them, take them till the problem is out of their business. Yeah. So this is what is the second phase of my presentation, which is what is the role of a chartered accountant. Again, I take a logical pause here to see if Uprit has got some queries from the participants before I move on to the last leg of my presentation.
No, sir, I haven't got questions, though I have got many comments which say such a great explanation and such a relatable explanation.
Thank you very much to all those who have given this comment. It really means a lot to me, keeps me motivated, because I am really appreciative of the fact that it's 8:30 and you're still listening with that much of enthusiasm. So that's a kudos to all of you. And now I'm going to show, if you want to be in this game and make your clients a success and be part of that success story, how can you go ahead and acquire these skill sets? So this is a roadmap ahead for each one of you. Um, and let me tell you that age is not a bar. Participants from across the age spare can learn this at any stage. It's just that you need to start liking it. Trust me, they'll make you millionaires. You will be much sought after professional. You will be busy for next 10 years for sure if you acquire the skills. Okay. So if some of you might get encouraged with the earning potential, so this is the domain. If you are already in this domain, leverage this knowledge and share your knowledge to make your client successful. See, friends, so far what I've seen is that audits are considered as one of the support function. But do we really support our client by just submitting the report and leaving them there? The answer is no. Especially the statutory audits are considered as a compliance requirements. But friends, in this situation, when you're doing some support-based audit like process audits or compliance audits, or and using agile technology, trust me, friends, the kind of professional satisfaction that you will get when you see your clients are improving, they are coming out, overcoming the business problems, you will be very, very happy. See, money can't buy happiness beyond a point. The very fact that you are all chartered accountants means that you are successful in your life. The very fact that we are less than 1% of the India's population. Yeah, not even 1%. We have 0.01%. Yeah, we are like hardly few lakhs, like 4 to 5 lakhs out of 1.8 billion. So we are very minuscule professional in India. So that itself shows that we are successful. But as a professional, what is going to give you that satisfaction of your achievement is your work. If your work enables your client to grow and you become part of the success journey of your client, that is the winning. That will give you a peaceful sleep at night. Yeah, and many of you would have experienced it. So I am now going to guide you that if you really want to help your client come out of their problem area by making friendship, then money will just flow. Client won't mind paying you. So the start the start point for all of you, which many of you have already begun your journey, is learning the Excel. This is like an ABCD of data analytics. Everybody should know basics of Excel. Yeah, basics of databases. Why Excel? Because Excel, the backend is database. When I say database, it's nothing but rows and columns. Friends, globally, yeah, globally, take any software. It maintains data in rows and columns. There is no other format in which you have to have a data to analyze, which means if you know basics of Oracle, basics of Excel, basics of SQL, your job is begin in this domain. Yeah. So learning spreadsheets, learning databases, MS Access is a wonderful tool. Yeah. SQL Lite is a query language whereby you can write queries on a database to get a data of your requirement. So if you're doing an audit and if you're trying to make friendship with the data, then you need to ask relevant questions so that the data will give you relevant answer, isn't it? See, our friends also, when we ask them, they give the insights. On their own, they're not going to advise you. So today, if I am in a trouble or if I need some guidance from my friend who is an expert in IT, that is income tax or GST, I'll call them and ask a specific query, isn't it? That what is the provision of this section? Don't expect them to give advice on their own. So SQLite is like a specific query. If you want to know something specific from the data, then Excel and Access won't help you. You have to write a specific query and data will give you an answer. So knowledge of SQL is very, very important. And the good thing is all what I am showing is not something that for that you need to undergo a formal training or you need to go to any college or classes. Sitting at your own office while commuting in your own cars or metros, you can learn them by subscribing to online platforms. Even I'll guide you where you can subscribe. Okay, these are all learnings that you can do at your own pace, at your own convenience, without going to any classes. Okay, or maybe for Oracle or an SQLite, you can find out from your neighbor or wherever your offices are. There are thousands of students you will find who are pursuing MTech, BTech. They will teach you SQL in 1 week because they are learning these technologies in their curriculum and they won't mind spending half an hour, 1 hour. In fact, they'll give you real life experiences because they might be working on a project. Yeah, so if you are learning online and if you don't find it comfortable, find a person, find a student in your society, in your neighbors, from your articles. You can ask somebody, and you can learn from a student, not go to classes. Yeah. Then comes the tools like this. These are very powerful tools, way beyond the normal traditional tools that we use. They are specialized tools only for data analytics. So once you are through with this, learn these tools. If I have to draw an analogy, these are your MBBS doctors, these are your MDs, these are specialists. They are meant for only people like us who are into audit practice. And trust me, when you're doing agile audits, they are going to be very, very handy. Then, once you are through, now this is a journey that will take you anywhere between 6 months to 1.5 years. You have to keep continuously practicing. You have to keep working. It is like swimming. The more you do, the better you become. Yeah, there's no formal training or a certification. Don't spend much money on learning. No certification is required. Your client is not going to ask you, am I IDEA certified or an ACL certified to give you a work. What they need to know is how much knowledge you have got, how much your ability to make flexible data is. Yeah. These are the skill sets which you need to have. These are not those certifications or skill sets which are eligibility norms for getting the work. Nowhere in your eligibility you will see that a person should be ACL certified or an IDEA certified or an Arbiter certified. Yeah. Then, after spending 6 to 8 months or a year's time, if you really develop your interest, then go with the visualization softwares. Tableau, ClickSense, AWS ClickSite, SAS, these are the very popular tools and these are the industry leaders. I have only drawn those products which are used in industry. In this cat, there will be more than 30 products. I have only highlighted four because four or Power Query is not a cat tool, it's an add-on now. It's a feature of Excel, but it works like a cat. So it actually comes under this category. These five products put together is about 45% of the industry market size. So if you know of any of these tools, you will be competent enough to handle the client's data quickly. Yeah. Similarly, Tableau is a market leader. Now it is gaining a lot of prominence after SAS. So these are the products which you can use for converting your analytics into storytelling. If you are really keen to full-fledged go into this, then next is R and Python. I am not advocating that you should do it. As a chartered accountant, we should not spend more time on this. Why? Because there are programmers available at a throwaway price. There are youngsters, there are students who can develop a program for you at a very small price of 5 to 10,000 for a program. So as a chartered accountant, this is not our forte. I would not recommend this. But yes, if you have time and if you want to full-fledged go into as an expert, this knowledge of this might help you. The good news is now Python is embedded into Excel. There's a collaboration of Python and Excel. So now inside Excel, you can draw your own programs. You can customize your own software, add-ons into Excel. This is Apex. If you want to reach the height of success or pinnacle of success in this domain, you have to work on this. Here you can go for certification because these are the tools which you barely find. If you're into consulting, that you will barely find your hands-on experience. Those who are into industry, working in large multinational corporations, they might use these tools, but for others, you might have to undergo some sort of a formal training. Like we have courses on SAP. Yeah. Now comes from where to learn. So before you go out, you should look inward. Our own institute, our DAP committee is making lots and lots of efforts. They are regularly coming up with these courses. So these are some of the courses which I have highlighted here that will help you to enable you and equip you to become a good data analytics expert. So start with our own institute courses. Keep an eye on the advertisements coming up regularly from DAP committee. Yeah, subscribe to the portal. You might regularly get the invites for the launch events of this. Trust me, friends, DAP committee is taking a lot of initiatives, arranging these events, free webinars for all of you to give insights so that you can leverage on the technology. Today, leveraging technology, understanding technology, imbibing technology is the only key to success. Yeah. So courtesy DAB, you will have this lot of courses going on round the year. They're offline, online. You can do it as per your own convenience. Yeah. Then these are some of the other learning domains which are available. Simply Learn, Coursera, College Dunia. There is a disclaimer. I have no vested interest in any of them. It is purely for your academic purpose that I am recommending. Many of them, like Simply Learn and Coursera, considering that you are all chartered accountants, the kind of courses they come up with on technology is very easy, so that you can grab the the speech of the course. They don't use technical jargon so much. So personal preference, you can go with them. But as I said, I have no vested interest. You can subscribe to any of these platforms and learn at your own convenient time and pace. Yeah, a very nice content they have. Some live sessions are always going on YouTube. You can explore your own other sources, but these are the sources that you can refer to. Yeah, so this is a roadmap for all of you. With this, I come to an end of my session with wishing you a great success in the domain of agile audit coupled with the data analytics abilities. So thank you for your patience hearing and being here till almost 9 o'clock. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for a valuable session.
Hope my session would have given insights and some sort of a sense of urgency to acquire knowledge on these domains.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir, very much. In fact, there are more comments coming in the question and answer platform wherein people are mentioning excellent platform, relatable stuff again and again. So that
Sure.
shows how always you have over the content.
Sure. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, you all couldn't see me because of some issues with my video, but hope my audio was loud and clear and you could gather some sense out of it.
Yes, sir, it was amazing.
Great. So thank you very much. From my end, wish you all the best. Over to you, Iprit, now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this enlightening session on Agile Audit, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the two remarkable individuals who spared their time and shared their expertise with us. Manoj sir and Amish Thakkar sir, both of them who dwelled in the crucial aspect of agile auditing, data analytics, and all which encompasses the same. On behalf of our audience and organizing committee, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude and thanks for their exceptional contribution to the session. You have enlightened us, sir, and your presence has truly elevated the quality of this webinar. We look forward to the continued exchange of ideas in the future. Thank you once again for your time, dedication, and valuable contributions.
Thank you very much, Iprit, and thank you to everyone who's there on the webinar. I wish you all the very best. Stay blessed and have a happy evening ahead. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.